Hi there, Nick Robinson here. Let's dive right in. We want some good quality meat, some top sirloin maybe, cubed, nice, half-inch, 1-inch cubes here. We want to cut everything up before we do this, and some diced garlic, some rough cut onions and carrots. It's just easier to do it if you have everything assembled. Some parsley and some Yukon Gold potatoes, which are also rough cut. And what we want to do here first is to brown the meat. We don't want to cook it, we just want to sear it on all sides. So we want it on fairly high heat with some olive oil, and put it all in one layer, and just kind of leave it. Don't toss it around. Let one side get brown, and then turn everything over. Add some pepper maybe. This should take about 5 minutes. Here's our mise en place with a little Pernod on the side. It makes cooking easier. And what we did here was we drained the juice so that it doesn't boil. And we want to keep that juice. Okay, looks good on the beef. Now what we're going to do is put a little more olive oil in the pan and add the vegetables. Now these will take, 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want to completely cook them until they're glassy. You just want to, as I said before, brown them nicely, because all this is of course going to go right into the stew. Add the garlic at the last moment, and stir it around, but just don't cook it too long. We just don't want to burn the garlic, otherwise it gets bitter. Okay, so we put that aside as well in a separate bowl, because next we are going to deglaze the pan with some wine. Now here I'm not using very high quality red wine, but you might want to get a nice bottle of Merlot or Syrah or something full bodied, and deglaze the pan with it, maybe a couple minutes, and add that to the meat mixture with all the gravy. And here we have the chicken broth, about 4 cups. Here I used canned chicken broth, but you can make your own if you want from scratch. Not necessary. And we want to add some tomato paste, maybe 2-3 tablespoons. It's not really, an exact science, but. And a little thyme, perhaps if you have it on hand, some Provençal spice from France. I think it has sage and all this stuff, and a couple of teaspoons of brown sugar. Now here we go. We're going to saute the potatoes in butter. Now what we want to do is we want to come up with a nice crust on all sides of the potatoes, but again, we don't want to cook them all the way through. So we want it on fairly high heat. Put the potatoes in one layer, and just leave them so that one side just gets completely nicely glazed. And that'll take about 4 or 5 minutes. Don't leave the stove. Don't leave the kitchen. You got to watch this stuff or it'll burn. And then, it's time consuming, but turn each little cube over one by one and do the other side. The end result will be really nice. Now you want to put in the parsley. Turn off the heat. Make sure you turn that off. You don't want to cook the parsley. Put the parsley in with the potatoes, and again we are going to set them aside. And now we're going to start to assemble the main dish. Here we have the meat and the chicken broth and the gravy and the wine all in a soup cooking pot. You want to bring it to a boil, add the vegetables, leave the potatoes until at least 25 minutes before you're going to eat. So what we want to do here is bring all that to a boil and put it on a medium simmer, checking it from time to time. It's going to be about 30-40 minutes. At any time you can add some kernel corn if you like. It adds a nice sweet touch to the stew. And some peas. Just put them right in from the frozen sack and stir it all up, and just put the top halfway on and put it simmering at about medium low. That's a little high, but every stove is different. 25 minutes before the end, you want to add the potatoes, stir them around, and again, put the top halfway on, and we're almost done. If it's not thick enough, if it's still quite thin at the end, what you want to do is mix about a tablespoonful of cornstarch in some cold water, mix it up nicely, and then add it slowly. It will gradually thicken to a nice consistency. You can also add some demi-glace powder. You can even add onion soup powder, which will make it nice. And here we go. The best stew you never made.